Yeah. Here is Lewis Skelly trying to get in behind. He's done just that.
Arsenal are a club living on a knife's edge between Arteta's genius and his obsession with overcomplicating water bottles. Since 2019, Mikel Arteta has turned the Emirates from a meme factory into a pressure cooker. An FA Cup win, back-to-back 8th place finishes and a painful 2nd place near miss. But here's the kicker. Arsenal's rebuild isn't about money anymore, it's about survival. Arteta's tactics are so intricate, even his half-time oranges come with a PowerPoint. Calling Jesus a false 9 is like calling IKEA furniture luxury. It works until you need it to last. The stakes? December, a month that could break Arteta's project. Not because of fixtures, because of Andrea Berta, the new sporting director who turned Atletico Madrid's rejects into Rodri and Griezmann. His job? Fix Arsenal's striker curse. Jesus and Havertz, 22 goals this season. Erling Haaland, 30. You do the math. But here's the twist. Arsenal's lifeline isn't in the transfer market, it's in their academy. Miles Lewis Skelly, 18 years old, scoring on his England debut like he's playing FIFA on beginner mode. Ethan Nwaneri.
He deserves that and he's part of us, so he would have the minutes.
These proposals aren't prospects. They're Arteta's last hope to avoid another almost season. Why you'll stay? Because this isn't just about tactics. It's about a club risking everything, trusting a sporting director who's never worked in England, a manager who's one bad month from fan mutiny, and kids who've never paid a gas bill. Let's roll back a few years. Arsene Wenger's Arsenal was a symphony, improvised, free-flowing art. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal? A SWAT team. Wenger's final years were haunted by defensive chaos, Ozil's fading magic, a fan base clinging to nostalgia. Enter Unai Emery, a tactician caught between eras. His tenure flickered with promise, a Europa League final, pressing triggers and cryptic motivational videos, but cracks splintered fast, locker room dissonance, collapsing leads and a fan base still pining for Wenger's ghost. Then came Arteta, a disciple of Pep's death by possession school, armed with a spine of steel and a playbook thicker than War and Peace. No more compromises, no more nostalgia, just control. Wenger's last Premier League title came in 2004. By 2018, his farewell season, Arsenal leaked 51 goals, their worst defensive record in 22 years. Arteta's first move? Burn it down. Out went Ozil's luxury, Aubameyang's drama, in came structure, pressing triggers and a backline drilled to suffocate. Saliba's ice-cool composure, Gabriel's snarling aggression, not entertain. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal is a paradox carved into North London's soul, a masterclass in progress and a graveyard of what-ifs at its core, a spine forged in obsession. Saliba's glacial calm and Gabriel's fire, anchoring a defense that concedes fewer goals than Wenger's final side ever dreamed of. Ahead of them, Declan Rice, a one-man midfield siege, and Martin Odegaard, the puppet master whose passes slice defenses like origami. On the flanks, Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli, two wingers who play like they've got nitro in their boots, turning Arteta's death by possession into death by 1,000 cuts. This isn't just a team, it's a machine. Wenger's 2017-18 side floated on 58% possession. Arteta's 2022-23 version cranked it up to 61%, third best in Europe. But here's the twist. Arteta didn't kill Wenger ball, he weaponized it. The Gunners still dance in the final third, just with Saliba and Gabriel as a bulletproof vest, Rice as the enforcer, and Saka and Martinelli as the blades. Yet for all the structure, the almost lingers. A second-place finish, a Champions League return after 7 years, a fan base torn between pride and fury. Arteta's Arsenal isn't a rebuild, it's a high-wire act, balancing tactical genius against the ghosts of collapses past. Phase 1, The Purge, 2019 to 2021. A baptism of fire. An FA Cup win in 2020 teased Wenger-esque glory, but back-to-back 8th place finishes left fans questioning if Arteta was a philosopher or a fraud. Phase 2, The Blueprint, 2021 to 2023. Enter Odegaard, Rice and Zinchenko. A second-place finish in 2022-23 Champions League return and 88 goals scored. Possession dominance 61%. Defensive discipline, 0.95 goals conceded per game, and a fan base believing again. Phase 3, the brink. 2023 to present. Andrea Berta's arrival, academy gems like Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri, and a Squad 1 clinical striker away from immortality. But here's the rub. No trophy since 2020, a title charge that collapsed in April, a project pulsating with potential and haunted by almost. Arteta's Arsenal isn't a failure, it's unfinished, a revolution stuck between ruthless progress and the cruel reality that football doesn't award points for process. Arsenal's problem isn't talent, it's identity, a squad caught between Arteta's obsession with control and the cold reality that trophies aren't won by XG or possession stats. Let's dissect the cracks. The striker curse. Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz have combined for fewer Premier League goals, 22, than Erling Haaland's left foot, 30. Jesus, the false nine, is football's greatest oxymoron, a striker allergic to scoring. Havertz, a £65 million ghost haunting the box like he's paying rent to miss. Arsenal's impact isn't broken, it's bankrupt. Set-piece dependency. 22 goals from dead balls last season marked a creativity crisis. When the corners dry up, Arsenal's open play blueprint resembles a toddler's finger painting. Chaotic, messy, and pointless. Injury roulette. Bukayo Saka's ankles are held together by prayer and KT tape. Gabriel Martinelli's hamstring snapped louder than fan patience. Thomas Partey, a £45 million luxury who spends more time in the treatment room than on the pitch. Arsenal's medical room isn't a clinic, it's a war zone. The Arsenal-ness factor. Collapses at Villa Park, bottling leads against Southampton, a club that's mastered the art of turning certainty into chaos. It's not tactics, it's trauma, a DNA strand coded with panic passed down from Wenger's late collapses to Arteta's April meltdowns. We know the problems, but are there any solutions? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Let's discuss the solution. Arsenal's fullback crisis used to be a punchline. Hector Bellerin's decline, Kolasinaic's chaos, until Arteta hacked the system. Enter Alexander Zinchenko, the inverted fullback who turned left-back into a midfield cheat code, and Ben White, a centre-back reborn as a right-back so calm he could defend in a hurricane. Throw in Jurrien Timber, a tactical chameleon whose technical poise turns defence into attack with a single touch, and suddenly fullbacks weren't a weakness, they were weapons. Midfield, a graveyard of ghosts, Xhaka's rage, Ceballos' dribbles to nowhere, until Arteta bet £100 million on Declan Rice, a one-man wrecking ball who tackles like he's late for dinner and progresses the ball like a quarterback. Paired with Odegaard's metronome brain, Arsenal's midfield went from porous to fortified. But here's the puzzle. Andrea Berta, the man who plucked Griezmann from Sociedad's reserves and Rodri from Villarreal's shadow. His job? Fix the final flaw, the striker curse. Jesus' XG lies, Havertz misses haunt, and Arsenal's bench groans under the weight of what-ifs. Berta's blueprint? Target a killer. Isak, Jokeris or Šeško, who treats the box like a crime scene, not a yoga studio. And then there's the academy gamble. Miles Lewis Skelly, 18, already mirroring Rice's dominance in games. Ethan Nwaneri.
He's always ahead of what everybody expected. I expected as well. He deserves that.
These aren't just kids, they're financial lifelines. If they rise, Arsenal save millions. If they flop, the project becomes a Ponzi scheme. The fix isn't complicated. Berta's eye for gems plus Arteta's coaching plus academy hustle. But in a sport where one missed sitter can unravel 4 years of progress, Arsenal's margin for error is thinner than Arteta's patience.
Mikel, one more. I have to ask you about the title race because it's 15 points now. Is it too much? Right.
June isn't a month for Arsenal, it's a lifeline. With the Premier League's revamped transfer windows, a summer sprint followed by a post-tournament scramble, Arteta and Andrea Berta have 30 days to pull off a heist that's haunted fans for years. Land a striker who turns almost into always. Enter Alexander Isak, Newcastle's ice-cold finisher with Henry-esque grace and a knack for scoring under siege. Or Viktor Gyökeres, Sporting CP's raging bull, a 6'2" powerhouse who bulldozes defences like they're cardboard. For Arsenal fans, it's a debate of finesse versus fury. Isak's silky dribbling and a knack for big game goals. Poetry. Gyökeres' 41-goal contributions last season. A sledgehammer. Scroll through Twitter and you'll find split-screen edits of both in red and white kits, because Arsenal's striker curse demands extremes. But here's the catch. Newcastle's more than 100 million Isak tax could drain Arsenal's war chest, while Gyökeres' €80 million release clause demands Berta's Atletico magic. Swap deals, installments, or sacrificing a fan favourite. Wait until August and the post-Euros frenzy turns both into meme stock gambles. The verdict. Isak offers star power, Gyökeres guarantees chaos, but Arsenal's lifeline isn't just a name, it's a mindset. Sign either and the process gets its killer. Hesitate and Jesus' XG lies become the epitaph. Why June matters. Land the striker early and Arteta gets a pre-season to mould him into his pressing monster. Miss, and Arsenal enter August with Jesus' XG lies and Havertz's existential dread. The question isn't if Arsenal have the skill to win the Premier League, it's do they have the soul. Mikel Arteta has rebuilt the Gunners into a machine, dominant in possession, ruthless in structure, closer than ever to glory. But machines don't win titles, killers do. Sign Alexander Isak and Arsenal finally get their predator, a striker who turns Odegaard's artistry and Saka's hustle into cold hard goals, a striker who doesn't just play in the box but owns it. Fail and the cycle continues. XG sermons, set-piece crutches, and a fanbase choking on what-ifs. But here's the brutal truth. Even with Isak, Arsenal's curse lingers. Those April collapses, those Emirates implosions, they're not flaws, they're DNA. Talent fills rosters. So, how bad do you want it? They don't just need a striker, they need Invincibles-level ruthlessness. That little extra to not only play pretty or keep possession, but to break opponents so utterly they leave the Emirates doubting their career choices. The Invincibles didn't win, they humiliated. They made rivals for the badge, not the XG. For Arsenal, greatness isn't a signing, it's a choice. And until they make it, their Premier League dream isn't unfinished business. It's an epitaph.